All right, so I am going to run you guys through how I would recommend or even create macros for a client. I guess more so of a recommendation because what I do is work with people custom, and I'm basing my adjustments based on what I am seeing and what is presented each week. This is not a formula, and I think that's what most people think. I have a post on why macro calculators kind of suck because there's so many things that they can't take into account. But what I really wanted to do was use this person as an example. I had a call with them and she followed up with an email. I said, you can follow up with me and I can give you a better idea. She said this, help with maintenance calories. And she said, when we chatted about a month ago, you mentioned that you could help me figure out what my maintenance calories are. And I'm thinking, I probably didn't say maintenance, but I probably said a more ideal caloric amount for you. I just have to remind you guys that your body is dynamic. It's not static, and it's not an Excel spreadsheet. So I just chatted with somebody the other day and they said, well, I went and I did the bod pod, and then, which is your BMR is going to be based on a calculation, and a little bit more informed of a calculation because of the body fat that it's taking into account. And then she said, well, I did my VO2 max as well, which is also if you're going to measure like what your intake should be, that's going to give you a better idea. But I again told her, your body it's not an Excel spreadsheet. You can't just do this and pop out this number. There's so many little nuances here. So I'm gonna walk you guys through right now this woman that I spoke with and how I would do it, right? So she told me, we chatted about a month ago, you mentioned you could help me figure out what my maintenance calories are. I told you why. I don't think I said maintenance. I definitely did not track perfectly, but good enough, I think. I log in, lose it, and this is what I have attached. So she says, it looks like I've been averaging eating about 1,570 calories, which is funny because I actually thought I was eating way closer to 2,000. This does not surprise me because people, especially women, think they're eating a lot of food, especially the women that tend to gravitate towards my content. They think like, oh, I'm eating a lot of food. And that's just because they've really been programmed to think I should only be eating 1,200 calories, which if you've been here long enough, you know isn't the case. I actually thought I was eating way closer to 2,000 calories. And this is also why tracking macros from time to time has some merit, is because there's like a 400 calorie discrepancy between what she thought she was eating and what she's actually eating. So remember, it's just good, important data points. She said, the last time I weighed in was on February 9th at 168.4 at 34.7% body fat. I don't know where she took her body fat, probably with a scale that does it at home, which is not very accurate. That's another conversation for another day. This morning, I weighed in at 173.9 and 35.6 body fat. We've definitely had a lot of stress, going to send off parties, lack of sleep, etc. So she already told me why she gained weight right there, right? It's not real weight. So I feel like that 173 is going to come down a bit, but we'll see. I'm leaving the scale at home while my boyfriend and I are on the road for the next 2 months. So just planning on weighing in the next couple of days. For workouts, I've been doing more HIIT, cardio, and lighter lifting 7 days a week and 1 spin class a week. And what that tells me is, holy shit, you are doing a lot of exercise and not eating very much. So if anything, she should be losing weight, right? Why isn't she losing weight? Well, she's not losing weight because our bodies are brilliant. Our bodies are so smart. And what her body has done, and a lot of people are going to freak out when I say this, is it has down regulated. It has adapted to that lower caloric intake. So why isn't she losing weight? I just said it, that down regulation, right? So in order to lose more weight, she would have to either decrease calories or increase her already pretty strenuous exercise routine. You have to create a new stimulus. That, it's not very sustainable, right? Especially because she's going on this car trip. So when I spoke to her, I said, you're going on this car trip. I think consistency is going to be your best friend. And to be honest, that's where I start all my clients, whether you're a macro master, former IFBB pro, or you don't even know what a macro is. The first step is we have to establish your baseline. We have to establish the baseline. We have to figure out how your body is responding to a certain amount. So she said, where do you think I should go from here? If I calculated everything correctly, I gained 5.5 pounds, eating 1,570 calories and doing more cardio. That tells me something's off. Should I reverse diet now? Focus on eating more protein, back off the cardio? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. So I have another video called, and I'll just barely touch on it here, but it's called reverse dieting. And yes, I talk about that, about how if you really want to be successful in your efforts, what you need to do is just take the time to execute consistency. That's going to be, so much will happen if you can do that. You'll do a natural body recomp. It will be amazing. You can practice all those good patterns, habits, routines, and you can show your coach, maybe me, or yourself, that you can execute consistency, because you need consistency no matter what. If you're in a deficit, you really need consistency. And if you're outside of the deficit, you need to be consistent so that we can have a baseline. So, she's saying here, like, what's going on? How did I gain weight? She already told me why she gained weight. Lots of going away parties, drinks, food she probably doesn't normally eat, lots of stress, and she's getting ready to go on the road. Oh, and lack of sleep. That's in here as well. So she didn't really gain 5.5 pounds. You can check out my highlight called Scale Weight, and you'll see that all of these reasons are mentioned. So I'm not worried about that. But where do I think she should go from here, right? So what she's telling me is I eat 1,570 calories and I do a butt ton of exercise. What she needs to do, especially while she's on the road, this is prime time for her to back off the exercise so she doesn't have to keep up this strenuous routine. Not all at once. You don't just go, I'm working out 6 days a week, now I'm working out no days a week. No, you're going to go down in that. And this will be in the reverse diet video that you can also find on my YouTube. So decrease the exercise, bring it down, while simultaneously bringing intake up. So this is a positive energy balance, right? Negative would be the deficit, where you are, say starting at 2,000 calories and no exercise, and then you bring the calories down and you bring the exercise up. This creates a deficit, this creates weight loss. She could do that right now. She could add more exercise, or she could go down to 1,300 calories or 1,200 calories, and that would do the same thing. But what the smartest thing to do, especially given her current lifestyle, would be to do a reverse diet. So 1,570 calories, I think that she should have at least 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass, 20 to 30% of total calories from fat, and the rest need to be from carbohydrates with 25 to 30 grams of fiber, so that she can feel satiated. Balanced meals, protein, carb, fiber, and fat at every meal, eating consistently throughout the day, eating to satiety. So, this is a great example. I don't know her height, I don't know her weight. I just know that 1,570 calories isn't enough. Most people's basal metabolic rate is I think mine's like 1,300. I'm 5'2" and 130 pounds. That's the amount of calories that I need if I were just to lay in bed all day, right? Just my normal metabolic processes. So what I would really recommend is getting her over the 2,000 calorie mark and doing all of those things that I talked about. Practicing consistency, getting fiber in, getting steps in, drinking water, sleeping, and just showing yourself that you can practice these good patterns, habits, and behaviors, and watch the magic that will happen. Is it going to be this super sexy 30, 60, 90-day transformation where she loses 30 pounds in 30 days? No. But that's the thing, is that's not sustainable. And so they aren't really long-term results. What you're doing is you're building the foundation to create a lifestyle that can be sustained long-term, and therefore results that can be sustained long-term as well. So if you made it through this, congratulations, but that is what it is in a nutshell. And you can see, and then what I would do. So the last piece of this is what I would do is I would put her calories up to 1,670. So I would bump her up immediately to 1,670. I'm not sure if she was tracking all these meals out and things like that, but I would, if she was tracking to a T and everything was perfect, I would go ahead and reverse her and start at 1,670. I would do probably about 100, depends on how many grams of protein she was eating. If she was eating 80, I would say let's shoot for 100 first, right? If she had those macro numbers for me, I would work off of those. If she only knew calories or only knew a caloric estimate, I would put her at 120 to 130 protein, probably around like 55 to 65 grams of fat. And then I think that would, calculation wise, put her at about 160 carbs. Once she starts nailing that and then sends the next check-in, we can say, all right, what happened on the scale? How do your photos look? And how does all your biofeedback look? And from there, right, we're collecting data. We can really start to make the changes. So if you guys have questions about any of this, comment leave a question below. I will get back to you. I hope this was really helpful. Make sure you check out the rest of my resources. I have the scale highlight, reverse dieting, and there's also free guides available for you, the complete guide to reverse dieting and the macro freebies. So if you guys like this information, you will love that. Check it out. It's all free, and leave your questions below.